What's up, everyone? We saw some big moves to the upside and the downside today, and we have some really big news going on behind the scenes in the market right now. In this video, we're going to go over some of the best plays in the market for tomorrow, the most important news you need to know about, and towards the end of the video, we have a $1.77 million trade that you won't want to miss. But Tom, looking at the market today and the heat map, we can see it was a pretty mixed day. Some stocks like Microsoft got destroyed, but other stocks actually popped up in a pretty big way. So fill us in.
Yeah, 100%, Mike. We saw pretty good movement across the board, I'd say, overall. You know, the S&P 500 actually was green today, despite a very up and down type of day. So the biggest thing that really influenced stocks in the middle of the day was the FOMC minutes that ended up coming out. So for anybody who didn't know, the FOMC minutes came out today at 2 p.m. Eastern time, and they said that the Fed officials indicated that they were going to be keeping rates higher for some time ahead, as they said, pretty much all through 2023 is what I kept reading. So it sounds pretty scary, Mike. You know, they're obviously going to keep rate hikes going up, and they're going to keep trying to reach their target on that federal funds rate. So we'll have to see what ends up happening. They might change things, obviously. If we do continue to see like inflation come down a little bit, we can see that they're kind of indicating here that they're leaning more towards 25 basis points on the next FOMC meeting, which is great. So if they do end up still increasing rates, at least they're dropping it down a little bit to 25 basis points rather than 50 or 75. But in the end, Mike, ended up really moving the market midday. We saw the SPY drop down a little bit, but it actually popped up a little bit more right around close. You can kind of see it was actually a really choppy day overall after that initial gap up early on.
No doubt. So you said it in a perfect way, Tom. For those of you who are just looking for a nice, easy summary, basically the Feds are going to keep rates high for some time, just like Tom said. And while the market did tank off initially from this, I don't think this is like a bad thing because inflation is still way too high. So I really don't think this is a bad thing. Inflation is the biggest risk in the market right now. And, we'll see as we go on through 2023 if the Feds do decide to end up lowering rates. So it'll be interesting either way.
Yeah, it definitely will. That's a very big thing right now. And I know that today we saw the yields kind of going crazy. Like if we go look at the 10-year yield, you can see it started to pop up a little bit in the middle of the day and then kind of fell back off towards the end. If we go look at like the 30-year US 30Y, you can tell that one held up a little bit more towards the end, but it was a very crazy day. We even saw gold hold up very well, which was nice. But, while we did see some stocks going kind of crazy, Microsoft was actually falling down. They ended up getting downgraded by UBS, which was a bad thing to see. They ended up lowering their price target from $300 down to $250. What's good to me, Mike, is that they lowered the price target down to $250. Microsoft is at $228 right now, so maybe there's still some room back to the upside, but definitely bad news there. We saw a lot of sell-off, but we did actually see the China stocks actually do a lot better. Like Alibaba had an insane explosion today, up 12.98%. What a move, all the way up to 104.14. And look at that daily chart, Mike. They are getting explosive.
Yes, some of Alibaba's options today popped by over 7,000%. Yes, 7,000% in a day. So it's absolutely insane. And just like you said, Tom, like these China stocks really led the way today. They just crushed it, whether it's Alibaba or JD or NEO or anything like that. They really exploded up. And, Tom, looking at some of these, China stocks, what's driving this crazy movement?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So apparently Ant Group actually got approval for like a new capital plan. The main thing is though, is that whenever this plan got approved by Chinese officials, this is just indicating that maybe the Chinese government overall is starting to relax some of their scrutiny against a lot of these companies. And I know these companies have been facing fierce regulations over the past few years. They've been having a lot of issues with China's zero COVID policy, where they've been having a lot of shutdowns of factories. And man, there's been all types of economic troubles over there in China over the past couple of years with everything going on. And it's just good to see that maybe they're, relaxing those regulations a little bit. So all of those China stocks pretty much jumped up today. Like you said, Neo, Baba, JD, Queb, Baidu. I mean, you name it, it ended up flying. But what a breakout. And whenever you look at that daily chart, especially on Baba here, there was that recent resistance around 95, and we ran all the way up to like 105 today almost. Like, what an insane 10-point jump.
Yeah, and what's also interesting is that China stocks started to fall before like almost any other group of stocks from the recent market crash, you can say. A lot of these growth stocks ended up peaking in like the middle of 2021, where these China stocks actually peaked, or at least most of them did, towards the end of 2020. So that is very interesting. So it's like a lot of these China stocks have been beaten down so badly over the past couple of years where they're very oversold. So it's like whenever you get just like a little bit of decent news, they can definitely move in a big way. And that's exactly what we saw today. And China stocks are known for their like extreme and just straight up crazy movement. And a lot of times they are great for like short-term trading because the moves are just like almost incomparable to any other group of stocks.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy already from the low to high, Mike. The low down here in October was somewhere right around like $58, $58.20 to where we are now. That's already a 78% recovery to the upside. And I still think that Baba has a lot more room to go. That's just a 78% move. They could obviously go up a lot more. Like, there's a huge resistance up here right around 120 coming up, and then a huge one up there around 130 as well. So we have a lot of big levels to look for on Baba. Even like 110 in the shorter term, which is my blue line here, is actually looking pretty good. But there's a lot of levels, and I feel like that with that momentum we saw today, we could definitely see a nice continuation tomorrow. But what I will say, Mike, is these China stocks do tend to gap up a lot. So you do got to be a little bit careful of, that overnight price action.
All right, good stuff. So, Tom, for the rest of the week, what are the main things we need to watch out for the economic schedule?
Yeah, so today we had the FOMC minutes come out. I even saw that the JOLTS job openings moved the market today a little bit in the middle of the day. Tomorrow, we're going to have the ADP employment change, the balance of trade come out. I don't think that's going to be too important for the economy. But on Friday, we're going to have the non-farm payrolls and the unemployment rate for December. Those are two very big numbers. Definitely watch the market Friday, 1 hour before the market opens at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. We're going to get those non-farm payrolls and unemployment rates coming out. And as we said, the FOMC minutes came out today, and they talked a lot about the Fed, the economy, jobs, and stuff like that. The non-farm payrolls and unemployment rate are watched very closely by the Feds, as obviously they keep a hard eye on those jobs numbers.
All right, good stuff. So, Tom, now let's get into some good plays for tomorrow and the rest of the week. So, one of the top stocks I'm watching is GDX. So this kind of follows gold prices, and it basically does. So basically when people think of gold, a lot of them go to GLD at first. This is basically just like a gold ETF, and it like almost follows gold prices exactly. GDX is a little bit different in the sense of instead of trying to follow gold prices directly, it tries to follow gold mining companies directly. And basically what this does is it moves most of the time in a similar way to GLD, but sometimes you have like little bits of like divergences, you can say. GLD has been doing great over like the past couple weeks, and especially this week so far, but GDX has actually been a lot stronger, especially intraday. So GDX is definitely on my watch list to the upside tomorrow and just going forward. It has a lot of momentum right now, and it definitely had an amazing day today, and we saw a lot of decent unusual options activity in a bullish sense with this one and other gold miners recently. So it's definitely on my watch list to the upside.
Yeah, I'll have to throw it on mine too, Mike. It had a pretty good move today. That was a very explosive move. I really like this resistance here right around $30. I think that's looking pretty solid. And man, GLD had a huge jump. These miners had a jump, and I'm glad to see these metals continuing. Even watch like SLV. I think that even that one could maybe end up doing pretty well. It was down today, compared to GLD, but I do think that silver might turn around a little bit as well. But one that I'm going to talk about is Pfizer. I actually don't talk about them too often, but I did notice that from the high to the low recently, they've had a massive explosion. So pretty much to where they are right now, they're up around 21% from their recent low. Pretty big recovery. We've been seeing a lot of stocks recover up recently, but you can tell today they fell down in a massive way. They had a huge red candle actually fall under $50. So I'm going to watch this intraday support around 49.50. If we break that, I feel like we could have more huge selling pressure back to the downside on Pfizer. Now, if we do hold and we end up pushing back above 50.75, I will look for another play possibly to the upside, but I'm really going to be watching for another drop down. I thought that move down today was pretty rough.
All right, sounds good. Another one I have on my watch list is Intel, and I've actually been talking about Intel quite a lot over the past week, and I've been watching it to the upside, and it's definitely been popping up. Intel had an amazing day today, and it still has more room to run in my opinion. So I do think it is relatively strong to a lot of other stocks right now, and I'm definitely going to keep it on my radar going forward.
Yeah, I think this was actually one of our momentum plays yesterday, Mike. We actually got a very nice breakout this morning, and it had a very nice run and still looks good heading into tomorrow. So I like it. That daily chart definitely looks good on Intel, and you can kind of tell it got really close to that recent $25 support. And man, we've been really popping up. Hopefully we can get maybe back up to around that $30 resistance sometime soon. That'd be really nice. But I love Intel too, Mike. And I know another stock I really love is Boeing, which is also having a very nice explosion today. So I talked about Pfizer to the downside. Now I'll have to choose Boeing back to the upside. There were a lot of stocks green today. Man, this one had a very nice pop. And I don't know what's up with this one, Mike, but it is up a lot recently. From the recent low to where we're at now, they're up around like 67%. Just continue to watch it. We had another big break of resistance today, got all the way up above $200. So I'll definitely watch it for a possible push up to around maybe 210 or so. Don't go too crazy with it, but I think that watching it for some momentum and some scalps is the way to go.
Sounds good. So Tom, before we get into today's momentum plays, I want to take a nice look at SPY. So SPY, at least for me, has been channeling quite a bit between 381 and 385. I know there's a couple other resistance levels sprinkled in there, but that 381 support has been huge. What levels are you seeing for support and resistance, and what's your outlook on it?
Yeah, 378 is huge down there. Pretty much like 380 to 378 has been huge for a long time on the SPY, actually, even though, we move up and under that level often, obviously, it's still a very big area of support. And I'm really going to be watching it over the next couple days. I was actually hoping that the FOMC minutes today would help us find a better direction, but we ended up not really getting as good of a move as I was hoping. And with us being up around the upper end of that range, I was really hoping for a nice extension up, maybe like breaking 388 up towards 390. That would have made for a very nice move today. We would have kind of filled that gap from back on December 15th to 16th as well if we saw that. But the minutes did not quite do it here. So what I'm really going to look at for the rest of the week is possibly these non-farm payrolls and the unemployment rate Friday. I feel like that as the week progresses, if the SPY starts to maybe get to the top of this channel and we start to hold up here, if those numbers come in and the market likes them, we start to see a nice break, I think there might be some very nice opportunity to the upside. So I'm really going to hope for that. I think that the 380 support is huge here in the short term. Obviously, we could always move to the downside as well, but with the way a lot of stocks have been recovering up lately and today, I feel like that there is the possibility of maybe like a nice uptrend for a few days here coming.
Yeah, and in the event that these market-moving tech stocks like Apple, Tesla, and Microsoft continue down, that would definitely put a lot of increased selling pressure on SPY too. So, in the event we see that, it's also important to, look at some potential put plays.
Yeah, it definitely is. I would say that 378 area down there is going to be crucial to watch. Like if we start to break below that, I think that like at minimum we would fall down to 377. And if you want to get really risky with it, maybe target down there around 375, which is where we had that big drop down on Thursday, December 22nd. So I feel like there's a few big levels to the downside, Mike. And if you're a scalper, and you see that move under 378 at all this week, it might be a pretty good play there. So keep it on the radar and maybe even create an alert. It's very easy to create alerts. Like alerts. I mean, if I just right click on Trading View here, I mean, it is very easy. I can create them in about 2 clicks here. You just right click, create alert, crossing, create. There we go. Boom, the alert set. If it crosses, now I'll get alerted.
Yeah, there we go. Well, it's now time for the momentum plays for tomorrow. With the first one, we have Microsoft to the downside.
Man, this move was terrible today, and that downgrade by UBS was awful, but Microsoft did actually double bottom right around 226. So if we fall below 226, that'll be the big area I look for puts at.
All right, with the next one, we have WBD, but to the upside.
Yeah, WBD, I know you've been talking about this one a lot lately, Mike, and look at that explosion today, 8.81%. Props to you on this one, but let's go ahead and make them break out above 1060.
Boom. And then with the last one, we have NIO also to the upside.
Neo, I was really glad to see them moving up today with those China plays up 10.3%. You know, I would say if they could get up above 1070, they could easily make a run up to around that high of day or higher. So really watch that break at 1070.
All right, there we go. So we are watching NIO and WBD for potential day trades to the upside tomorrow, only if they break above the levels Tom listed. And then we are watching MSFT or Microsoft for a potential day trade to the downside tomorrow, only if it breaks below the level Tom listed. But Tom, we have to go back to Neo for a second. That movement today was insane. If you guys are into short-term options trading, check this out. Our bot today called out the Neo 10 strike call options at $46 each. By the end of the day, they popped up to $97 each. So they over doubled in just a couple hours. If you are looking for daily options alerts, make sure to check out that first link in the description and the comments down below. It is the best program for short-term options trading. Of course, not every single play explodes like this. No software, no strategy wins 100% of the time, but the bot's damn good, and it's only going to get smarter and smarter and smarter over time. And we have some awesome new additions that are set to be added to the program and just the whole Discord overall all of 2023. This year is going to be amazing, so definitely check out that first link in the description and the comments down below. Worst case scenario, you can cancel at any time and you save around $41 for your first month. Definitely make sure to check it out in the comments and description down below. But Tom, it is now time for the big money $1.77 million trade from today. We are looking at CCL, Carnival Cruise Line. $1.77 million was put into the 5 strike call options that expire on June 21st of 2024. For those of you who don't understand options, the main thing you need to know is we have a big money player betting that CCL is about to pop up a decent amount going forward. CCL is near 40-year lows. Carnival Cruise Line and just the whole cruise line industry has been hit pretty hard over the past 1 to 2 years, especially since COVID. CCL is at a very low level, and it has a decent history of good moves over the course of a couple weeks. So I like the risk reward ratio on this one.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty good, Mike. You know, for all my technical traders out there, this is kind of setting up almost like an inverse head and shoulders. You know, we have a nice shoulder level here, kind of getting a nice bounce off that $8 level once again, and you can see that head is kind of extending down there to around 630 or 650. So kind of looks pretty good as far as that goes. Even if it's not an inverse head and shoulders exactly, you know, there's still that big support down here around $7.60 to $8 that we're getting a nice bounce at. So I like that. And that is a lot of money, Mike, going into CCL here. The 5 strike calls as well. That is deep in the money. I will say, Mike, $1.7 million into a volatile stock like this. Man, I don't know who's got some balls here, but man, I need to talk to this guy. That's insane. 1.7 million. That's a lot.
Yeah, you know, and especially on a stock that fell so much over the past couple of years. What's the high on this one from the past couple of years?
Oh, geez, it is insane. Yeah, you're right. The high is all the way back in 2018 at 72.57. And even over the past couple of years, it was right at 31, and now it's at 8. So, I mean, we're talking here. Let me get the percentage here from the high to the low, because I mean, that is insane. It's going to be like 90% or something like that. Let's see. It's something right around like 88%. So that's just insane.
Yeah. All right. Well, keep CCL on your radar going forward. But before we move on, I want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, and that is Profit Hunter in the Stocked Up Discord. So he actually made an awesome post today in the Profits channel where he banked off of some nice SPX trades. He made just under $3,000. So huge shout out to Profit Hunter. Thank you so much for all of your activity and kind words, and just thanks for being a great member of the Stocked Up Discord chat. Tom and I really appreciate you, and continue to crush it throughout the rest of the year. So great job, Profit Hunter. It's awesome to see posts like this. But Tom, going into tomorrow, do you have any last minute thoughts?
Yeah, the market was insane today. I will say it was very choppy, but there was a lot of opportunities. Like even though it was choppy, there was a lot of up and down movement. And I felt like that there were lots of potential plays as the day went on, especially with momentum. And the bot killed it today, Mike. That Neo play was amazing, up over 100%. So check out the Discord, guys. We're adding a lot of stuff in here. And of course, Mike, we're in there all day long. So if you guys ever just want to, just shoot stocks or talk about anything, just, hop in there. There's a lot of people always talking. And hey, we're adding a lot of free stuff too. You guys will love it.
There we go. So if you want to join the premium portion of the Stocked Up Discord, definitely make sure to check out that first link in the description and the comments down below. We have a bunch of amazing features that you won't find anywhere else, and we only add more and more technology to the chat basically all the time. So make sure to join up. It is absolutely awesome. And besides that, let's make sure to crush tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for watching.